David Howden, D-A-V-I-D-H-O-W-D-E-N, Associate Professor of Economics, and I'm Chairman of the Department of Business and Economics at St. Louis University at a campus it has in Madrid, Spain. Monetary equilibrium is the idea that prices in the economy are fairly fixed. They don't instantaneously move up or down. They especially don't move down in particular. Monetary equilibrium is a theory, it's a basic economic theory. It builds on what we call the equation of exchange. Not to get into too much of the details, but the amount of money you have in an economy, if you multiply that by how quickly it circulates, how quickly it moves around, that has to equal the total sum of all spending in the economy. And that's just prices times the amount of goods that you're producing. Well, if all of a sudden, if you go to the right-hand side of this equation, if you have a reduction in how quickly money is being spent, which is pretty indicative of the recession in the States right now, and prices also aren't able to fall down because nobody likes to reduce prices, or there's not that much pressure to reduce prices, then if you don't change anything in the supply of money, if you don't increase or decrease it, the physical amount of goods that you're producing and selling in the economy also has to go down, right? If one of the variables, velocity on one side of the equation, falls down and nothing else changes, the number of goods that you're selling has to go down as well. So the idea is to offset these changes in the speed at which people are spending money, whoever is in control of the money supply, let's say the Federal Reserve in the States, should be changing the money supply. So if velocity on this side fell down, we would increase the money supply, and then you'd get a wash, right? That would be perfectly offset, so you wouldn't have to have a decline in output or a decline in spending. That's the basic gist of the idea. There's some problems with thinking like this. The biggest problem is actually identifying why it is that prices are stuck in place. And I think one of the ones that I really look at is, well, what if it's actually changing the money supply, altering that money supply that causes prices to be fixed? So a really important price, which a lot of people say does not fall down, is wages. Nobody likes taking a wage cut, right? Well, why is it that nobody likes taking a wage cut? Whenever you go in every year for your evaluation and you argue about your wage with your boss, you say, the very first line of defense is, well, inflation was 2.5% this year, so I need a raise of at least 2.5%. The reason that people's wages don't fall is because people were increasing, the Federal Reserve was increasing the money supply and creating inflation to begin with. So here we've got, it's almost begging the question in that our solution is only a solution to a problem that we originally started by increasing the money supply and causing inflation. Prices never wanted to adjust downwards. So I'm not actually sure in practice if I don't think it's as useful as a lot of people make it out to be, or I think it creates problems that a lot of people don't think about after the fact.